What's up, everyone? It's Big Roy. Welcome to another episode of Big Roy Cooks. Now I'm going to do something that I normally don't do, and that's try to make a dessert. I've made a lot of main dishes, a lot of sides, but I don't really do desserts too often other than the toro and the banana lumpia that I did a few episodes ago. So today I'm going to try and make the chocolate Haupia macadamia nut pie. All right, cross my fingers. I hope this is going to go well. It's something that I've always enjoyed. I see them sold at stores. I've seen them at parties, and I figured, why not try to make my own? All right, so the first thing we're going to do is make the crust. All right, so this crust I got online, and if you have your own favorite crust, you can use this as well, but I'm going to make this out of scratch. I'm going to start off with a half cup of panko crumbs, 2 tablespoons of flour. We're going to go a quarter cup of sugar, and we'll go a quarter teaspoon, not tablespoon, quarter teaspoon of salt. 1 1/4 cup of crushed macadamia nuts. Okay, so I put this in a little sealable bag here. I got this towel laid right here. I don't have a hammer, so I'm going to take a pot and I'm going to crush this. Okay, I'm going to check to see that it hasn't really crushed that much. Okay, so we'll try to go this way. There you are. Who would have known a toilet stick would have worked better than just a regular pen, which I broke. Okay, put that with all the other dry ingredients here. This is 3 tablespoons of melted butter, which I had on the oven there. Okay, now we're going to take a pie tin. This is about a 9-inch pie tin. Okay, we're going to put this right in there. Press it up against the edges. Okay, we got this formed. I have a feeling this is going to be a thin pie crust, but once again, along with my shows, it's all trial and error. Okay, but we got most of it up against the pie tin. Now we got our oven preheated for 375 degrees. I'm going to put it in there for about 20 minutes and let this kind of crust up a little bit, make it nice and neat. Okay, so I'm going to check on the pie crust. I actually opened it up a little bit earlier and I saw the pie crust was coming out pretty good. A little brown on the side, but I'll lower the temperature a little bit. Okay, it's been about 15 minutes, so what I'm going to do, check on my crust here, and I think that came out pretty good, just a little brownish, but that's all right as long as it's not burnt. Okay, so I'm just going to put this here and leave it cooling. Okay, so we're going to make our filling. We're going to start off with a cup of milk, and then a can of coconut milk, which is about 14 ounces. Oh, hey, pour it in slowly. And then 1 cup of sugar. Okay, this is for the Haupia mix, the Haupia part of the mix. All the lumps are out. Okay, we'll have that on a medium heat. We'll cover this up, wait for it to boil, and then we'll start adding more ingredients. Okay, we got our coconut milk mixture into a boil, so now we're going to add this water and cornstarch mix, about a cup of water and a half cup of cornstarch, and we'll mix that in there, and we'll stir this until it gets thick. And while that is going on, I'm going to take some semi-sweet chocolate chips here and melt this. Put that in the microwave. Just checking on our chocolate to make sure that we're not burning it. Okay, looks like our chocolate is pretty much melted, all these chocolate chips. Haupia is actually pretty thick here, so what we're going to do is We're going to take just a little bit of this here and put it into the chocolate mix here. Once again, we're not going to use all of the Haupia mix, just about half. And we'll start off with the chocolate mix here. Now the recipe doesn't call for this, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some macadamia nuts. And we'll take the rest of that Haupia mix and layer that right on top. Okay, so there we are. A little overkill on the Haupia. It's kind of overflowing there on the side, but I guess, hey, once again, trial and error, right? Got the sun in the back there. So I'm going to cover this with some plastic wrap, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this in the refrigerator overnight. So it's actually been a couple of days rather than overnight. I got a little busy, so I didn't get the chance to try out the pie. But I also forgot to make the homemade whipped cream. Okay, so I'm gonna make some whipped cream out of scratch. I had this bowl in the freezer for just a little over a half hour, so it's really cold. Okay, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take 3/4 of a cup of heavy whipping cream. Heavy whipping cream. See what I did there? Heavy whip. No. Okay, 3/4 of a cup. Get our whisk ready. Now we're going to add just a little less than 1/4 cup of sugar here. And speaking of heavy, this is some pure vanilla extract. I only say heavy because this little 1 ounce bottle, $300. Okay, not that much, but it is quite on the expensive side. So we'll just put there you go. We're going to mix this around till it gets thick. I don't know how long it's going to take. Usually you use one of those electric hand blenders, so we'll see how long this takes. Okay, so that took way longer than expected. It took about probably an hour. On the videos that I've seen, it took about 2 to 5 minutes, but I guess in the warm climate here, not really conducive to making your homemade whipped cream, because the bowl had to be cold, the cream had to be cold, utensils had to be cold. So once again, not a very great environment to try to whip cream. And also I had to put it back in the fridge every so often. Like I think I put it back in the fridge about 4 or 5 times before I finally got it to at least some kind of whipped cream consistency. So this is the best I'm going to do, at least for now, without a hand blender. All right, so let's get our pie out of the refrigerator. Let's take a slice. I'm a little worried about the consistency of the crust. It was kind of flaky and crumbly when I first put it in there, when I first put the pie filling in there, so we'll see if it holds up. Come out, please. Hey! All right. So there's the layers there. There's the chocolate, and then some of the whipped cream. You get the Haupia right there. You can see just right there. Yeah, and then you got the whipped cream. Oh yeah. That deserves another one. I will say this about the crust. It held up really nice. As you can see, it's not crumbling or it's not falling apart. It's a little thin on the bottom there, but I was expecting some of the crust to kind of remain in the pan or crumble in the pan, but I just scooped it out with my fork and everything held together really nicely. Just a few little crumbs on the pan there, and it's real nice. It's buttery, and I just didn't want that doughy kind of crust. I wanted something that was light, flaky. The crushed macadamia nuts in the panko actually really helped hold that together and taste real good, real nice and buttery. Once again, the added kind of things that I did was I put some macadamia nuts right in the middle, in between the chocolate and the Haupia filling, and I also put macadamia nuts on top, so it's got a good crunch, and a good consistency to it. Excuse me. Also, what I'm liking about this, it's not overbearingly sweet. Now, the chocolate was made out of these semi-sweet chocolate chips, so not as sweet there. And then the Haupia actually stayed as the consistency of regular Haupia. It's not as runny, or it's not too soft. I actually like it pretty much. But once again, not overbearingly sweet. So I'm liking this a lot. Of course, the presentation could be a little bit better, but this is the first time I'm making a pie, any dessert, out of scratch. So yeah, I think I can do this again. Hopefully for other people or for other parties. Chocolate Haupia macadamia nut pie. I give it the thumbs up, and thank you for your patience. I hope to see you at the next Big Roy Cooks.